Arthaus.
What do I really like stand for, and like what am I about? And I have all these like different things that I do, different things that I'm interested in, and like, and I just think in this world of self-definition and like how people start to create their identity.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's just like, I don't like to be pigeonholed, right? And I think that I'm naturally just a curious person.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's a really like, it's really just a powerful thing to kind of say like, I'm more than just this one thing, you know, and define yourself as you rather than like what you do or what you're most known for or like that. And it's really a way of life.
Well, yeah, it seems like it's kind of the antithesis of what kind of has been pushed in this corner for the past 2-3 years, which is niching, right? Everyone's got to have a niche. You're the email guy, you're the video guy, you're the copywriter guy. You know, you do this, and it's all about your niche and all about your market and all about your value tweets and blah 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 blah. But people are not, people are not one-dimensional things, and it doesn't feel right. And I've never felt right trying to niche. Every single time I'm like, I'm gonna just tweet about video stuff today. I tweet 2 things, and I'm like, this is boring. This is stupid.
Yeah. Same. It's the same thing. Like at this point, like if I wanted to just pump fitness content, could probably build a business with it. But like, it's not like, I don't feel like tweeting about fitness, and especially with some of this shit, it's so repetitive, you know?
Dude.
And it's like, how do you prioritize one thing over another? Really, like these priority type things. And then also too, like, I just have a lot of interest, man, you know? And it's like, start doing one thing for too long, and not in like a bad way. You need to have focus, obviously, to do anything. But
oh yeah, but humans aren't bugs. We're not specialists, right? We're supposed to learn lots of different things. We're supposed to do lots of different things. And niching is like specializing. And I mean, obviously, you need a niche purposefully. You need a niche tactically for business. Obviously, you don't want to be selling to everybody. That's just basic stuff. But you shouldn't niche your personality. And you need to, like, if you're online, like, you're showcasing your personality, you're showcasing who you are. So why aren't you just showcasing some more breadth, some more width to what you got?
Absolutely. And I think it's really like an archetype we've kind of lost.
Mm-hmm.
Like kind of the quote unquote Renaissance man, like somebody who just is an interesting person, you know?
Yeah.
And maybe you correlate that with like the idea of like the man cave and the soy that is. But but like, you know what I mean? Like people used to just have, like, people would play instruments. Like, where did that go? You know, like people don't just have zero depth as people anymore. And that's why they don't get with. Really.
I see a lot of people online, and like, I'm like, yeah, cool insights. I'm actually gonna use that thing for my business. But you are a boring motherfucker. Like, I will never talk to you my whole life. Like,
absolutely.
You are a LinkedIn bot, and I have no desire to make a deep friendship with you. But your content I will use for my purposes. It's all about building the real connections, real relationships.
That's all it is.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes back to training everything, right? Like, when you think, when I first heard that, I thought of what Alexander Cortez said about a year ago. He said, everything is a skill. Everything you do can be trained, and everything you do can be improved upon, made worse. And we don't think that. We just think there's like 5 things that we can do, and then everything else is out of our control. Yeah.
And for me, it kind of, and I know you've had some guys who are like really competent, relaying kind of the idea of like presence and spirituality. Like Lobo talks about stuff like that, and he had Du on.
Mm-hmm.
Who talks about stuff like that. And it's like, I don't even think you can really have that like true presence in the moment if you aren't aware to like all of these different things. Cause you have to live life, right? And like the idea of like, oh, I'm going to hustle. Like, that's just stupid. Anybody who's done anything, I think, gets that. You start to get into like you have to start understanding like your work patterns. And so you can't be in that mode all the time.
Well, you got to ask yourself, whoever's saying that, like, what is their agenda? Do they want you to buy their products? Or are they trying to get you to get on that same same wavelength as them, so their marketing is more effective to you? Is that what they're trying to say, that, or do they actually genuinely care? Like, it's very hard to tell.
Well, and I think we all kind of like, we're all at a different point in where we're going, right? And so I think some people maybe like it's a kind of like root level psychology marketing aspect, but I think some of them just genuinely mean it, and it varies based on where they're at in that path. But I just think like when you start to think about your life and your experience in that like kind of that spiritual way, like I found that kind of like thinking through Neville Goddard, like self-awareness, peace with yourself, and like presence. And I think if you start to like really live like that, you realize that like during all this time, there's stuff going on. Like you're constantly learning regardless. You're always soaking stuff in. It's just like separating it and making each moment of that like meaningful rather than having just stupid time,
Yeah,
essentially.
like knowing what you're taking in, knowing how it's affecting you, knowing why you're taking it in. Like, just instead of just having it happen with no introspection, no viewing, just letting it come, looking at why, how,
Yeah.
getting
And
the
it's not,
grit.
and that's not to say like you can't do relaxing things, but
Oh,
like even when you're doing the relaxing things, you're taking them in, you're being present in that moment, and you're noticing these patterns on a deeper level than I think a lot of people do. And
yeah.
a lot like shallower than they should.
I know. I mean, I notice when I do like a meditation or when I'm praying or something like that, and
Yeah.
because I have a constant just schizophrenic rambling going on in my head 24/7 that I just
Dude, wheels
cannot.
spinning. I'm the same way.
And okay, I've never said this publicly, but this is weird as fuck. But for the last year, I've had, every time I go onto Twitter and every time I'm like dealing with a mental problem, I'm going through the map terminal from Modern Warfare 2 in my head.
Like each corner of the map is like a
Yeah, like
different.
I remember everything perfectly, like the bagging area, the little gift shop in the center, the big glass windows, the plane. Like I'm just walking through I don't know why it happens. There's no, it's, that like, what's that concept? Like like if you're trying to remember things, like you make the mental house in your mind.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
You
yeah,
store things in there.
yeah.
Maybe it's something like that I'm just doing unconsciously, but every time I'm like reading like coronavirus tweets and I'm like picturing myself in the freaking plane of terminal, and I'm just like, why is this happening?
The terminal map. That's some
I don't
American.
know why that happens, and
There.
that's a complete tangent, but I had to just get that out there at some point.
No, I'm glad you confessed it. It's kind
It's
of cool.
chronic. It's
Yeah,
chronic.
it's like a good constant nightmare to have.
Yeah. I think I think it's telling me I should go play that game again and just get on that
Probably.
map and see what
It's a
happens.
great game.
Yeah, yeah. I have a 360 somewhere. Maybe I should. Maybe I should pull that out. Have you? That brings us to a different. Brings us to a thing we can actually go on in terms of this quarantine. Have you been? What have you like? Have you been like, kind of laxing on, like hustling and grinding and doing that shit and sitting down and playing games every once in a while, or have you like mostly just been focused on learning and getting your shit in order?
To be honest with you, like so I used to game, like growing up in high school, I would play video games, obviously. And
Yeah.
and then before I dropped out of college, I would play. And then, so as soon as I dropped out of college, then I moved to Florida, and that's a whole long tangent, but, I had a PlayStation 3, no, 4, I don't even remember. PlayStation 4, yeah. And it sat in the corner of my apartment with my TV unplugged for like since January 2019. So I
Yeah.
hadn't played it. And then like 2 weeks ago, one of my best friends from home hit me up and he was like, "Hey man, still have your PlayStation?" I was like, "Yeah, his broke. He games with the boys, whatever." So
Yeah.
I sold it to him dirt cheap. Extra
Nice.
$100,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah. I gave away my gaming computer about 3 months ago, and
Really?
that was like the last, like, it was either like, all right, I'm gonna play games, or I'm gonna focus on my shit, and I chose to focus instead of
Yeah.
playing games. Now, you said that you dropped out of college and moved to Florida, and that sounds really interesting. So let's talk about that. What's the whole story with that?
Yeah, I mean, it was so I was playing college football and like I just hated school really. Never really like honestly like kind of had the egotistic view of like, oh, I'm too smart for this, like I'm wasting my time, and then just also genuinely didn't enjoy it, like hated being on someone else's schedules, couldn't write papers for shit because I just didn't care. And then just like a bunch of other shit happened, and I just got to a point where I was like, all right, like screw it, I'm out. Like it was like a Thursday night, was hanging out, to be honest, was kind of stoned. Like I actually saw like an ecom ad, like one of the like horrible ecom ads, and I was like, okay, like this kid's doing this, like there's no way, no shot this kid's smarter than me, like I can just tell looking at it. And I also was just like at that point I was in a weird place in life, like kind of in a weird mental funk, hated school. And so I pretty much just was like, you know what, like got on, like watched some YouTube videos, like just really sat down and thought about it. Was like, you know what, like screw this, I'm not coming back. Like woke up the next morning, called my parents, and they were pissed. And I was like, well, my dad tried to play a little bit of hardball with me, and I was like, well, all right, that's fine. Like packed up all my shit, called one of my buddies, was like, all right, fine, like if you're not cool with it, like I'll leave all my shit, I'll go get it, like booked a hotel, like went to the airport with a suitcase, was like ready to rock. And then he kind of like, he realized I was serious, and then so I just stayed home, worked for like a month, and then moved down to Florida, man.
Wow. So what are you doing now to sustain yourself?
So now I'm doing like full time. I work in e-com, and we have like a client. I'm not gonna like
you don't have to go to specifics,
whatever, but like the client side of things, a couple different projects. But that's what I do for work, is e-com marketing or whatever you want to call it. But right when I dropped out, I had a bunch of freaking odd jobs at first. I worked in this like call center sales place for like 3 weeks, hated it, like couldn't do it. And I was carnivore there. Like that was right as I started like the carnivore experiment.
Yeah.
And dude, it was so bad. Like, cause the office people were just like zero vision, like exactly like that. You know, that red guy who's like stressed out meme?
Yeah.
It was like exactly those kind of people. And it was just horrible. Like I would get at least 12 people a day that tell me that I'm gonna like no vegetables. Oh, and I was like, okay, relax, Betty. Like it'll be fine. I worked there for a while.
Don't you have your dialysis?
Yeah, exactly. And so I worked there for a little bit. I delivered for this Italian restaurant for a little bit. And this whole time I was like, my whole thing was I was going to like build a fitness brand, like on Instagram, like sell stuff like that, whatever.
Yeah.
And I was doing that, and I made some money, like I monetized it pretty well, like made some decent money, like helped a lot of people. It's cool. And I also then started, so I've always been an athlete my whole life, right? And so when I did that, then I started working at a gym in Clearwater, which was like, it's a very unorthodox gym. It's called ATG. It's like they have a big online audience, but I started working there and training clients. And then I got some really good experience, like working with pro athletes, some college, some NFL guys, some NBA guys.
When it comes to training, so have you trained normies?
I have, yeah.
Okay. What's the difference between training a normie and training an NBA guy? And not like in the workouts, that's obvious, like you're doing different shit, but like in terms of like how they approach the exercise, like what can people learn from that?
I think the difference is that athletes are like externally purpose driven when it comes to their body. So I think that the thing that helps them is the fact that they fundamentally have a different like aspect. Like it's for the normal person training, right? Like most of them want to alleviate insecurity. They want to feel good. They want to be healthy. But like for an athlete, it's different because their livelihood depends on it, right?
Their goal is crystal clear, and it's very, very, they need to get it. They need to get it.
They have to get it or else they fail, right? And so I think that's the difference between the two, is that athletes have this inherent urgency to max out or to, you know, PR or progress and grow, really. Whereas the average person that you're training in a gym doesn't really have that. They have like and I think that's why you see people who do have like these more enjoyment type goals, like like they just love power cleaning and they want to power clean 315. Like they're so much more consistent, right? Because when you're just training to be healthy or to look good or
very vague, and it's not really like it's wishy-washy.
vague, and it's just like, yeah, it's just, there's one, you get to a certain point where you start to feel good about yourself and then they coast. Whereas if you're externally performance driven like that, you can't do
Yeah. Well, like you said right there, like the urgency factor is big. And just like when you left college and drove down to Florida or whatever, or you flew, when you got down there, like
that.
you
Yeah.
had the urgency. You had the urgency, right?
Yeah.
You couldn't just chill and be like, oh, I'm gonna like hang out and I'll just find work when I want. No, you were like, all right, gotta find work. All right,
Yeah.
gotta do this. Here's how I'm gonna make money with this, right? And
Absolutely.
I think just a lot of people just do not have that urgency.
No.
When you're cushy, when you have kind of a cushy life,
Yeah.
that urgency just like it gets washed away, and you have to like you have to really like put yourself in a situation. Either put yourself in a situation where you have urgency, like moving out early, or
Yeah.
you have to have a goal that will get you up out of bed and make you want to go do things and leave your comfort, basically.
Absolutely, man. Like 100%. I'm the kind of person, like I'm an all in or all out kind of guy. And like I could never just, I guess I've never been that way and would have had like a fundamental problem just, and that's why that's really what triggered like me really changing, like me waking up as a person, me dropping out of school. Like that's what triggered it really.
Mm-hmm.
Is it wasn't so much like I just started to feel really comfortable with myself and like I was really like leaving gas in the tank. And I couldn't do that. Like it's just not who I am, you know?
Let's see if anyone can drop some questions in the chat while we're finishing up this part. We'd love to hear hear some from the audience. When it comes to
direction.
Yeah. When it comes to, I think another part of this this train everything mindset is making yourself open to soaking in as much as possible from wildly different areas and sources.
Yeah.
Like the diversity of follows that I've had has only increased over the past 2 years.
Same. And one thing about that, a couple of things about that really, like I try to curate, like a lot of people probably like, especially as like guys have gotten exposed or whatever, I don't even know, right? Like I try to follow as many people as I can. And when I started like making my account, like an account that I was actually like, not worried about, but like trying, just like actively putting out content. Most guys will go through and like unfollow everybody, but like the people that they have that have audiences or things like that. I didn't. Like I have a lot of like my old friends, like a lot of my just people that I've known, people that I already followed, people that I fundamentally disagree with at this point. Like some just like girls that like would honestly probably hate me at this point. Who knows? Like just people who think differently than me. And I tried to curate it that way because, well, one, I don't want to get in an echo chamber, right? Like I want to know what's true. I don't want to know what I think's true, right?
It's very good.
So I've really tried to curate it that way. And then the second part of that is I think the problem with it is that people use Twitter in the fundamentally wrong way, right? They think that
normie Twitter is hell. Normie Twitter is absolute hell. I've never seen a bigger waste of time than how 95% of people use this website.
100%. And even building on that, I think, because I love our corner. It's helped me grow as a person so much. And in business, like really like, people talk shit about it or whatever, but like it's actually genuinely helped me as someone who dropped out of school and wanted to get started, like a lot of great guys out there putting out great shit. But I think that even the people who are in the quote unquote corner, like they think that reading these tweets is helping them. And it is to a degree, but like, it's not. The way Twitter is meant to be used, especially if you do curate your feed like this, Twitter, I feel like Twitter is the mimetic thought cluster of the internet, right? And it presents these thoughts to you. Like, and you can source all of the different dots. Like if I had a sheet of paper here, like you can source all the different dots by, a curated follow in this direction.
And
You
it's
can
up to
expose yourself.
you. It's up to you to choose exactly which ones you want to mess with and wrangle with. Just because they appear on your TL does not mean that you have to agree with them. You have to support them. You have to engage with them at all.
Yeah, 100%. And I think like if you do it the right way, you can expose yourself to all these different thought clusters. But where even people in our corner, and normie Twitter is how like those, I mean, it's just pure waste of time. But like even the people in our quote unquote corner, they use it wrong, because all it's meant to do is introduce these thoughts to you. And then if you want to gain anything from them, you have to live them, A, and B, you have to see it through. You actually have to do the work.
I actually have some advice. If you're young and you're getting on Twitter and you're trying to, break in with the big guys and whatnot, there's only two ways to do it, I think. There's one where you legitimately have an edge in something and you can, like Eric Finman, you build satellites and Bitcoin and shit. Like that's obviously an edge, you're like really good at, like you're really, really, really top tier at copywriting or something. Like you already have clients, you're already like really business, you're an elite kid. And if you don't know anything about that, like if you have to think, am I elite in something? You're not. So the only other option for you, I think now, is comedy. I think that if you can go in and you can be like hyperbolic, you can banter, you can make fun of trends, you could be like just witty and just fuck around and troll people. Not in a way that would make people like, pissed and like, this guy's so fucking annoying, I'm gonna block him. But in a way that would draw engagement, build an audience that way. That's the only other way to do it. Or I guess the third way would be to grind. But if you're looking for like instant, like, instant growth, instant to 1,000, then one of those two ways is the best. If you don't have any real credentials.
Yeah, I agree with that a lot. I think that,
and that's kind of like what because there's like subsects of this corner, right? There's like the more money based, and there's the more like fitness, and then there's like this like kind of like the Lobo and like, like what you are, where it's like
where they can join. It's dynamism.
And like what Deja Vu Ruby Rosa does, where it's just like, it's like half absurdist humor, half really, really good knowledge, but it's all like absurdly hyperbolic at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, where it is comedy. It is a comedy. It's not like some super deathly serious like Nietzschean tragedy,
Don't tell some people that. That'll fly right over their head.
Yeah. Well, I don't want those people here anyway. So
yeah, exactly. I'm just kidding. Then that's like, that's what I think that's what dynamism is to me, right? You have these subsects, right? And then you have, if we're going to talk about like growing an audience or a Twitter brand. Oops, did you freeze there? Okay, I still got you, right?
Yep.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, like I think that if we're talking about building an audience, right? Like these branded accounts are played out and people are sick of it, right?
Yeah.
Because there's more and more people doing it and it's just becoming more and more stale, right? And so I feel like we're at a place where now, and I love it, I feel like we're at a place now where authenticity is like king. And if you're dynamic as a person, then you automatically can play in all these different subsets. You can, have intelligent conversations in different arenas and build more relationships.
Build more relationships, make more money, get fitter, get better, and everything.
You cut out a little bit there. I think, did you say like get fit, get better?
Yeah. If you focus on that, you don't focus on niche and you focus on building relationships, you'll get better in more facets of your life than just gaining wealth.
100%. Your wealth will leave you with what? Like, you have to have the actual that's the thing. Like, even if you got wealthy, but you didn't have the foundation to be wealthy, it would be worth a damn. Then you'd probably have this like huge ego attack.
What the fuck?
You good?
Yeah, I just walk out.
Yeah. I thought we were cut, but we're back.
Okay. All right, we're fine. Let's just I think the stream just died. Let's just here we'll make a cut and we'll just wrap this up as like part of the actual the recorded episode. So finish up your thought and then we'll close it up.
Well, dude, honestly, I lost my thought.
Okay. Let's just do we'll just I'll just ask you how about this. I got it.
Yeah.
All right, so Logfitz, if there's person comes on Twitter, they're brand new, 0 followers, but they somehow find this corner, right? Yeah. What would you tell them in order for them to thrive most here?
Be genuine in themselves. Hopefully commit yourself to getting better every day and like actually becoming the person that you want to be. And I think that's it. If you do those 3 things and you're, some people just don't have it, right? But like if you do those 3 things and you actually are the type of person that people would want to be around or follow or talk to, that's it. Like it's wraps. From there, it's just a game of time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. It's just about, you don't need to do any crazy marketing tactics. You just, just be yourself, but not retarded, like actually like grow.
Yeah, just genuinely like be a person that's interesting and have interest and it ties so many fundamental. I know it's so cliche, like be yourself. Yeah, it does sound super gay, but whatever. Like it really is true. And then you enter all of these different, you get all of these like kind of subseding ideologies based on that. Like you genuinely don't care what others think, which is a superpower. Like you start to block out external validation or these things and you just are you. And that's the only way to live, really.
Hell right. Hell yeah. I said hell right. God damn. In my head I was saying hell yeah, but I said you're right, and it just I just fucked up.
It's funny how those things happen.
Yeah, man. Well, it was great talking to you. This was an excellent chat, and I hope this is definitely one that people will have to go back and re-listen to.
I hope so, man. Yeah, it's been a pleasure. It's always cool. I've liked your shit ever since I saw it and started following you, and it's cool to connect.
Thanks, man.
It's a very cool platform.
Yeah. I'm liking how it's turning out. I'm definitely liking how it's turning out. We'll definitely get you back on the show before before the year end.
Word. That sounds like a plan, man.
All right. See you later, bro.
Take it easy.